Angel is actually a MSc qualified actuary, and he comes with 11 years in the finance and tech business. Now I know where your penchant for the futuristic technology comes from, in Angel. And he's in fact been a part majorly of investment banking. He's worked with insurers. He's also had four big strategic direction for 100 billion assets and managing stakeholders. He's also been a CXO, and that's majorly the expertise that Angel brings to Car Jasoos. Bhavna, on the other hand, is the CEO and co-founder as well. And she has been a chartered accountant and comes with more than a decade of experience in corporate finance, risk advisory, IT insurance, and even tech pre-sales in the Big Four, and has worked within UK and India. How wonderful that we have an Atmanirbhar startup that has got global exposure and expertise of that kind. I'm sure people are going to really benefit listening to you all today. So, Angel, let's begin with hearing your thoughts on what is the future of mobility. We've been through a major pandemic right now, and there's so much of unsurety happening. Technology has suddenly grown a lot because the kind of future people are envisioning is now here. Probably we are living the future we thought. Future is accelerated; it's becoming the present, and it would be exciting to hear what is now going to be the future of this future that we've already started living.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction, Neha, and hi all. Before we start talking about the future of mobility, a quick introduction about Car Jasoos. Car Jasoos is a tech platform. So we are using technology to make car buying easier. It's not just cars, but also car buying, car financing. And what we do is, when we are looking at the business, the automobile industry in general, we look at, okay, short term, what is there and what we can do for the market. But we also look at the longer term, 10, 20 years from now, what will happen, and how should we position ourselves, not just as a company, but, all the entrepreneurs out there. And as Neha mentioned, during the pandemic and everything, a lot of things have changed. People have realized more about the environment. We saw a drastic reduction in pollution. We were able to see Himalayas from Punjab and all those things happening. So, that's quite positive in a way. And I have also seen a lot of people take up cycling because during pandemic, they were not able to take cars outside and everything, and roads were empty. So they started taking up cycling and everything. So in terms of mobility, what I think is the future of mobility is not like replacing one sort of mode with the other mode. It is about the technological advances. We are in the age of software currently. We have not even started in terms of what technology can do for us. And it's not all negative, because as technology advances, if people think, okay, jobs are gone and everything. No, it's all about how you reposition yourself, how you upskill yourself. And the thing which we are going to talk about today is driverless cars, autonomous cars, as we talk, as we say. And this is something very futuristic. You might see Jetsons cartoon and everything. You just jump into a car and they take you somewhere. So that is what we are going to talk about today. And I hope everyone is excited to hear. And I look forward to having some discussion towards the end of the session as well. To start with, I'd like to say, you might have heard about Google and Tesla doing a lot of testing on driverless cars. Now, what I think is more than automobile, it is the software that is quite important. And driverless cars are being tested for the last, at least for the last 10, 15 years. So, it started all with the car having a camera on top of it. And then looking at your surroundings and everything, and the car reacts to it. But it's slightly difficult in a way. But now we are at a point where you can see a lot of tech companies coming into picture. So I'll give you an example. Now there were a lot of companies which used to provide the GPS services. So TomTom, Garmin, and some large players. And what happened over time was Google took over the market. So now no one uses a separate GPS. You always open up your phone, open Google Maps, and they give you the GPS location wherever you want to go. They will route and everything. So what these companies started doing was, when you have a car which comes with the GPS inbuilt, the backend technology is now being provided by these companies because they have so much data. It's all about data. And those companies, what they've started doing is basically now they've started doing connected cars because they have their technology in multiple cars. They would know what the other car is doing, and the cars can talk to each other. And that is where the main, the main power comes from. And that's how all these companies are testing various things, and it's quite exciting, right? You jump into a car, you're sitting on the driver's seat, there's no steering wheel, and it takes you around. And many times you get scared for the first time, but then it makes you comfortable. So so that's a uh, bit of an introduction to what we are going to talk about, and also we'll talk about some opportunities out there for others. What are the risks and what are the hurdles and everything. So talking about driverless cars, what I would say is it affects multiple industries. Now I'll talk about the positives. Right? Imagine a scenario where you might have three cars at your home, right? Different family members might be using different cars to commute to work or to commute to school, or you have drivers and everything. Now when the car becomes driverless, one positive that will happen is the number of cars on the road will reduce, and that's where we come to the point around uh, lower pollution, environment friendly and everything. And the reason for that is now, most of the times, when you own a car, you go from point A to point B. And if you calculate the total time you use your car, if your ownership period is say 2 years, you might have used your car only for 5% of the time. 95% of the time, your car is just standing in a parking lot somewhere or at your home. With driverless cars, what will happen is that the car will take you to wherever you want to go, come back home, take another person of your family somewhere else. So instead of three cars, you might just need one car at your home. So that would be positive. Now that impacts many industries because uh, if the number of cars reduce, then the automobile sector is a big sector, right? But that also means that the cars, because they are autonomous and driverless cars, they also become expensive. So there might not be a reduction in the total value on the road, but there will be reduction in the number of cars. So the first positive is like pollution control, which is quite positive. Um, the other thing that will happen is obviously reduction of accidents on the road. So what that would mean is because the cars are talking to each other, you will not be able to overspeed and everything, right? So it's not up to you, it's up to the car to take you to the point, and it will be very efficient because if the speed limit on the road is 50 kilometers, all the cars are running at 50 kilometers. So unless something happens, uh, there will be very less amount of accidents on the road, which is quite positive again because that's a big save to government in terms of money, in terms of infrastructure and everything. So that's a good thing about driverless cars. Again, people are always worried about technology overcoming, and taking over humanity and all those things. But those are just talks. The way you implement is quite important in that way. Um, and the third point about driverless cars, which I believe is quite powerful, is the drastic change in things. Now, I'll give you an example. Uh, if you take a country like US, India is quite similar as well because in India, although the urban areas are very densely populated, have a lot of cars as well. There are big parking spots made around it. But because of the less number of cars, you might not need as much parking. You might not need as much public parking and everything, and you can transform those areas. So you can make those areas green areas, or you can maybe people can enjoy. They can be maybe real estate development, whatever be the case. So these are the things which positive. But again, to reach that point, there are a lot of challenges, I believe, and the biggest challenge is infrastructure. Uh, because when you when you talk about these things, it's an ideal world. Uh, if you're driving the car nowadays, you might have a stray animal come into your way, or if there's barricades, the barricades move, in your way, and you have to turn your car, whatever be the case. Before you reap all these benefits, there's a lot of investment that needs to be made, not just in the technology, but in the overall infrastructure. So, for this to happen, it needs to be very uh, structured and staged. I believe you need a lot of support. And again, you might hear companies saying, "Oh, we'll get a driverless cars in 2025 and everything." It still exists, right? Uh, when I was in the UK, I've taken a test drive of Tesla. Tesla has a feature of autonomous driving. So you leave everything, and the car will drive itself. Now that only happens when the roads are, not in city center where there are traffic jams and everything, but on highways and everything, it does excellent job. You don't have to worry about it. So the technology already exists, but the infrastructure around it is something which we have to develop. So that's something which needs to be done, and again, that is something which will take a lot of time. So you will not get truly driverless environment at least for a couple of decades.
Very true. In fact, but if we look at it, a lot of the cars who've already introduced more high-tech cars here, I would not just go in terms of better engines. I would also say we have electric cars already coming into play. We have, gearless vehicles coming into play, and people are more than happy to take the support because there's a different level of intelligence involved. They often, I think, a lot of these cars are very useful, especially for women, because there's this notion, right, that women can't drive well. And then you have the car which is actually telling you that you've got a bump coming at this many meters away. And, when you're parking, that support is good because, and people are adopting to that technology already, whether it is men, women, whether, all jokes apart. But even youngsters, where a lot of them have earlier, it's the vehicles which were there, people have been a little reckless with it. But now, when you know that the car itself is giving you a warning that, listen, you're too close to the other car, there's a danger, you could meet with an accident, and when you're parking, it's giving you signals. So, technology has come into it. We may not be using self driving cars, but we do have cars which somehow are more intelligent than humans and helping us avert certain casualties already, if when we look at it. So yes, there are the traditional cars which are family seaters and everything, and then there are also these vehicles where the families are more than happy to, each one's got their own bucket seats also, which is a lot more secure because they are able to strap a child peacefully. If they are elders, they are able to wheel them into the car itself. So a lot is already changing there. I,
No,
I
that is, yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah,
very
I was
true.
about to say, I said I would love to hear
Yes,
Bhavna's views considering
yeah,
the woman
yes.
also here.
So, in fact, Neha, one of the things which you just mentioned, so parking. So you will not believe. So, we moved from. So I used to drive a lot here, and I drive a lot in India. I drive a lot in UK, and in UK, one of the Ford cars that we own can do self parking. So initially when I tried to use it, I was like, no, no, I'm not going to leave the steering. There's something wrong can happen. There's this kind of feeling scared. How can I leave the entire decision making, an entire parking kind of thing, which is it was a tight spot actually, to just the car. And oh my god, it was a delight. It did everything on its own. I just had to manage the accelerator and brake, and and it just did it on its own and did it. And I just said, it gave you a confidence and comfort. So these kind of features which have already been tested, used by us, knowingly or unknowingly, have become part of our driving experience and pleasure. So be it touch screen. Now we used to have buttons all over the dashboard. Now we have touch screen, right?
Yeah.
We have Apple and
Voice control also.
yes, exactly. That's what Apple and Android being now integrated. You just say a command, open sunroof, and your sunroof is open, so these kind of features and technology, I think piece by piece have already become part of our system and our driving experience. And it's already been introduced into it. It's just as Angel was alluding to, that the infrastructure and the entire kind of experience where it becomes completely and truly driverless may take time, but however we have come way ahead of where we are, and to adopt and use technology and software. So it's definitely becoming already a part. In fact, the safety element of things have increased so much purely because of the combination of technology and hardware combined together. So, we definitely have more safer driving experiences, safer roads, lesser accidents. So yeah, definitely.
I think you said a very important keyword here, letting go of control. I think it's a
Yes.
very mindset issue. And but a lot of people who've used these kind of advanced features, like how you experience the benefit, like okay, I just had to control this, and it was a hassle-free parking. As people have started adopting technology and they've been willing to kind of let go a little bit more, and they realize that it can
Mm.
be a lot more stressful, I think they've started warming up to all these changes
Yes.
also. And if you look at it, it doesn't become any different than actually having a person drive the car. It's just that here
Mm.
you can't see the person, right? If
Yes.
normally if you're being driven around, you are doing nothing. Today, when we rent a Ola or a Uber, also for example, what are we doing? We've put our address, we fed it, they are following the route. Just that instead of a car driving itself, there's a person driving it as per that navigation.
Yes.
So, but we don't have the control. The control is in another person's hand,
Correct.
which is
Exactly.
why we also need SOS buttons in case something happens and that person loses control. Then
Yes.
we obviously, need that kind of support. But I think that change is already happening. So the future that Angel was speaking about, it might be only a matter of time before current, the Gen X, Y, Z. I think when we come into Z plus one, two, by then they would have definitely adopted this level of technology for sure.
And I think there will be faster adoption of this technology with the future generations, because not driving, but in other aspects of life, they already have been exposed to such sophisticated technology, which probably the previous generations would have just experienced the tipping of it. So, the mature technologies that they are exposed to is definitely, even the advanced handsets, like I think if you go to any remote place, people would not own a laptop, but will own a very high-tech smartphone or a notepad. So those kind of power in the hand, in the penetration of internet and all the other technologies that we have right now. Smart TVs and smart washing machines. So that adoption of technology and the comfort is so much ingrained in the future generations, that they will definitely want it and adopt it quicker as us. So definitely.
True, true. We are definitely we are the kind of generation for us, we are learning new things. But for the generation that we are raising, this is their world for sure. So for them, this is the normal. For us, it's a new normal where technology is, actually becoming so integrated. I'll tell you one of the clients that we were working on at our branding studio. They actually have something known as smart riding gear. Okay, they are a bike riding gear company. They manufacture riding gear. They actually have jackets with smart chips enabled, so that you are constantly able to access not just navigation support, but your jacket is powered so that you can get access to hospitals or other emergency situations. Plus, if you're riding as a group without an intercom, you all are connected. Now, this actually became a life saving technology which came from his own accident. And this is how a lot of bike riders also, they changed. I mean, I know we're talking about futuristic cars, but technology started coming into driving even with bikes. And if people are adopting that on the gear, it's only a matter of time before people start accepting technology that okay, that intelligence can be life saving, and let it be completely vehicle driven. For sure, for sure.
No, very true, very true, and I totally agree with the point that we are already experiencing the benefits of technology in mobility, and it's a good thing, right? Like as Bhavna mentioned as well, because people start accepting these things, and once people start accepting these things, they become more comfortable around it. And the example which you gave is quite interesting. Jackets being connected to each other, and that's how all these cars will be connected to each other, right? You call this connected car technology or Internet of Things and all these things which are out there. And one of the big beneficiaries of this will be people who are in the software or data analytics industry. So if you are entrepreneurs in this industry, then definitely you should think about it. Maybe it's not a short term gain, but over longer term it will be quite beneficial. And one other industry I would like to highlight is insurance. Again, quite interesting thing. People might not think about it, but what will happen is now, if you think about, so sorry, I'm deviating a bit, but uh, in insurance industry, being from insurance industry myself, globally, the biggest insurance which is sold is car insurance, or vehicle insurance in general, because it's a compulsory product.
Yeah.
So everyone has to buy it. So when you buy insurance, you actually get insurance for the driver, right? When we are driving, it's our mistake and everything. Now, what happens when you have driverless cars, when things are connected and you are not driving a car? Would you need a car insurance? Or how will the government think about it? Who will be responsible for the car? Or, obviously accidents will be low, but how will this happen? So again, this is a quite interesting thing. Next time, if you're an investor in an insurance company, you can ask this at the investor presentation, right? In 20 years' time, what will you do? So
Sure.
something like that.
No, but I think with changing times, see, earlier when there was insurance, honestly, life insurance was the biggest insurance. Car insurance happened later because the times brought in the importance to insure cars. Then we got into insuring body parts, also specifically treating them as assets. So honestly, insurance also did change over the years depending on the people's need of the hour. So I think when this future also arise, would be a different kind of insurance required for the vehicle as well. Even if the company does take the responsibility, I am sure that there would be other aspects that would be covered. So I see the future of mobility having better vehicles and insurance relevant to those kind of vehicles and driving and lifestyle that happens for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That is where there's another opportunity for fintech industry, right?
Yeah, yeah,
How you do things, and telematics and all these things become quite
yeah.
important.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. No, I think with the changing times, like technology is evolving, fintech will also be important because that's going to change for sure. Already, people are kind of looking at different kind of insurance coming in, and tech. Everything is becoming tech. Ed is becoming tech. So everything. I mean, if vehicles are getting all tech driven, if mobility is becoming so tech driven, I don't know what else is going to have the word tech attached to it very soon.
Definitely, I think the question should be what will not have the word tech attached to it.
True, 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 true. I agree. I think it's a nice thing that people are being responsible with technology, but those who give emphasis to responsibility are the ones who are also adopting technology.
Yeah,
Because we humans could be forgetful about certain things, or they may sometimes pay attention to one aspect but another. But a program, once it's designed, it covers all the elements across all the spectrums that it is supposed to. So I think even when the cars become that further technologically advanced, security would definitely be much higher.
yeah, yeah. Definitely.
But
I'm here only.
I
I
should,
was,
no, but I
yeah.
should also take this opportunity now. I thought I'll take a minute or so to thank Dr. Praveen Parmar for organizing this, having us on board, and letting us talk. And it's a pleasure to definitely. It's immense hard work to bring everyone together and at least give us a platform for us entrepreneurs and budding entrepreneurs also to showcase our thoughts, our companies, our ideas, and it's amazing. It's just brilliant. It's just superb. Thank you so much, Praveen bhai. Thank you.
It is absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Angel Bhai, Bhavna Bhabi, joining for this particular session. It was a really wonderful discussion we had over the future of mobility. And Neha, you have moderated it very well, I think, So, yeah, superb.
Really,
So,
thank
great
you.
session. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.